Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Jamie Plays with me, Jamie. Today we are going to be trying a new game called Ixion. So quick aside for those people who are following my Star Trek New Horizons Herogen playthrough, I am still trying to recover that. I'm working with the devs to see kind of what went wrong and why it won't load anymore, and we will be trying to finish that at some point. However, for now, while we're in the process of recovering that, we're going to be taking a look at Ixion. Ixion is a very kind of interesting concept. So the kind of story behind it is that we are on Earth, we are humanity, and we're going out to explore the stars. To do that, we have this giant ring ship that we can see here in this animation, and this game is kind of a mix between exploration, strategy, and a city builder. So for example, there are 6 different sections on this ring that we can unlock and build cities, build industry, build all the things that we need in order to survive in the vacuum of space. So I think let's just go ahead and jump in. There's a lot of speaking and a lot of clips as well throughout this game, so I don't think this will be a playthrough where I'm speaking nearly as much as I do, for example, in something like Star Trek New Horizons, but I promise it will be great. I've played the first episode so far off camera, and it's the graphics are beautiful, the film clips are beautiful, and yeah, I think it's definitely worth a playthrough if you are interested. So let's click to continue. So Casado Games presents.
Launch control, we have Tycoon clearance for shuttle launch. Initiate Stanford protocol.
Clear procedures, check. Guidance go.
EA algorithm online.
Batista safety protocol, check.
Launch control to EMB Charon. All systems are go.
Launch is imminent. Personnel are instructed to evacuate the launch pad.
Launch sequence complete. EMB Charon heading for low Earth orbit. Transferring data to in-heaven. Visualize approaching near Tycoon structure.
PVS Tycoon to EMD Share. You have clearance for final approach. EMD Share. You have been assigned to Tycoon Docking Bay.
Perfect, so we have arrived, and I think that was a beautiful clip.
Welcome on board.
Basically what happened is that we now have our main staff kind of on board. We are now, yeah, on board.
EMD Share.
So we have finally, so we've docked. Sector 1 is empowered and pressurized. So this is our first section where we're actually going to be able to build things, to clean up as well. We have resources around the map.
Welcome on board the Tycoon. property of Dolus Aerospace Engineering Corporation. You will soon be given your assignments, but until then, please continue to wait near the docking bay. We hope you have a productive voyage, and would like to thank you for your contribution towards humanity's future.
Thank you very much. So what we need to do now, so we've basically gained control of this, and what we need to do is build a couple of things. So for example, in each section of our spaceship, we're going to need, for example, a workshop. This builds like a mech unit that is basically kind of like a construction unit, and then we also need to have a stockpile for resources. As the game progresses, we'll get access to more buildings, to more technologies. We can do research. We can have a kind of a government system. Yes. So what I'm going to do, I happen to know a little bit of a trick, and what I'm going to do is remove, I think, just 4. Yeah. So what we actually want to do is I'm going to remove this. So a big thing in the city builder is space. So as you can see, we're really kind of limited. Oops, sorry, didn't want to go outside yet. We're kind of limited in space here. So if we build, for example, this, that's already kind of 4 units that we've used up. Space is a really big kind of constrictor for when we're building. So we need to be very kind of strategic about that. The other thing that we also need to worry about when building is kind of the edges. So there are certain buildings that can only be built on the edges of your sections, and these are ones that somehow interact with space. For example, this docking port, or docking bay, sorry. This docking bay, if you don't have... so for example, you can't build a docking bay here in the middle. It needs to be on the edges. We currently have hull integrity we don't have to worry about yet, but we're going to start taking damage for various things that happen throughout the game, and we're going to need we're going to need to repair that. So we're going to need, I think it's called like an EVA bay. We're going to need to be able to send people out basically to repair our hull. We also need a bay for kind of probes to send off to scan things, and fortunately this game takes you through that very, very well. In the tutorial, saying, okay, like, you're trying to build this, it needs to go kind of farther outside. So what I'm gonna do, let's go ahead and place our workshop and place a small resource thing. You see how that lines up perfectly? So we've used all of the space here. That's why I removed that little bit of road, because if we hadn't done that there, then we wouldn't be able to fit everything here. What I'm also going to do, let's go ahead and build a road coming up here. I happen to know that space-wise, sorry, in terms of space, that will be really useful. I'm also going to go ahead and, let's just go ahead and connect all of these abandoned kind of structures together. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we want to deconstruct them. So how you would do that is you set, for example, this stockpile to say I'm going to use have it do alloys, and then as you noticed, these 2 buttons here, they have changed. So they have become so I can just click that and it says resource supply available for collection. So what would happen is that our mech units, collection units would come from here and go and put them in the stockpile, and this stockpile at the moment can hold up to 100 units. So I'm going to unpause the game. As I said, there's going to be a lot of talking throughout this, so I might not be speaking as much, and I'll try not to speak over them when they're speaking, because it is an interesting story from what I've seen so far.
I am Eden, the personal assistant installed on board the Tycoon. In accordance with the Munchie Protocol, I have been designed to take into consideration your complete psychological profile, so that I may more accurately respond to any needs you may have. My primary purpose is to ensure the Tycoon's automated systems function efficiently. I will keep track of the tasks that are necessary for you to fulfill your prerogative of reaching Proxima Centauri and carrying out field research, mining operations, manufacturing protocols, and Dolos colonization tests.
So that's really nice. Thank you. We have a personal assistant. While that's been speaking, I've just done a little bit more. I happen to know how I want to lay out this first sector. And I'm going to build kind of housing and things along here. That includes things like a crew mess hall, I think it's called, for food, things like that. So I've also, because I need food, I've also placed a stockpile for food. This stockpile is probably going to move around a lot, but for now, it's fine. Let's go to the next transmission. Oh, something else. I'm also going to be strategic about how I remove resources because we need space to build, basically. And if these things are in the way, we cannot kind of build over them. We need to remove these resources first before we can continue.
Administrator, I wanted to introduce you to your first tasks personally. I'm Dolos' cryonics lead, Marduk council member Giovanni Battista. So, let's see. Your first objective will be to begin setting up essential infrastructure aboard the Tycoon, meeting the environmental conditions that are required to support your crew. Having laid these foundations, you will then oversee the installation of the VOHLE engine and perform a short test jump to Proxima Centauri. Upon arrival, your research teams will carry out a brief survey of local space, gather a few rock and coal dust samples, fire up the colonization protocol, begin building the foundations for mankind's future, yada yada yada. And then you'll come back. Now, in order to achieve this, you'll need to familiarize yourself with the Tycoon's core functions. It's no big deal. There's the production, stockpiling and distribution of resources, construction, balancing of power output with allocation. Oh, and space exploration, you know, setting out expeditions and all that. Basically, everything needed to establish scientific advancement and harmonious autonomy on board the Tycoon following the first test of its VOHLE engine. Eden's gonna display and keep track of your main objectives. Oh, and Administrator, don't let the position go to your head. Veneer has insisted to center Dolos' focus on the Tycoon. But this mission is just in preparation for our next project, the Protagoras. The Marduk Council worked damn hard to pull this mission together ahead of schedule. So, toe the line, do as you're told, and bring the Tycoon back in one piece. Leave the grand gestures and saving of mankind from ecosystemic destruction to us, okay? One last word of advice. We don't all think like Veneer Dolos. As of yet, no human law has been officially established amongst the stars. That sounds like an opportunity knocking to me.
Yeah, so as we see, we kind of work for a kind of non-governmental organization, one that is interested in bringing humanity out into the stars, but humanity as a whole has not actually done anything yet in terms of trying to get to the stars. Well, let me say in terms of governments. So while they've been speaking, I've cleaned up a little bit more. I've added in 2 stockpiles over here. This is just kind of for spacing at the moment. I probably will leave those as stockpiles, but I'm going to build a space building here. We cannot build our, so I'm just going to, not this space building, but as you can see, like this is a space building. It can't be built in the center, as I was saying earlier. And it also can't be built over this kind of sign here saying Sector 1. But it can be built kind of anywhere here along the edges. I happen to know that building it right here is going to be very good in terms of spacing.
Connection with Dolos' lead data scientist, Emma Klein.
Great, so we're now going to hear from the next lead scientist. I think she just tells us we need to build our tech lab. Tech labs are great because it allows us to then do research when we get research points.
Administrator, Mr. Dolos has made it abundantly clear when it comes to security. Given the importance of the Tycoon, we must have full control over what is happening inside the station. My name is Emma Klein, Dolos' lead data scientist and member of the Marduk Council. My department have just completed final synchronization between Eden and our data treatment tool, the DLS. The DLS, or Data Listening System, is capable of scanning, recording, and parsing exchanges of any kind. The DLS programming that is a part of Eden will filter all data collected and bring to your attention only the most relevant information. It will also provide you with a condensed overview of any situations that may arise and formulate potential future outcomes. It will permit you to give direct orders without having to go through additional unnecessary paperwork. Eden will then take care of everything via their DLS accreditation. As is often the case with tools produced by my department, I think you'll find that once you start using the DLS, you'll never be able to do without it. Oh, and before I let you go ahead and start writing history, Dr. Munshi, our lead medical expert, wanted me to bring to your attention a possible side effect of VOHLE jumping. Whilst there is a correlation between prolonged space travel and the development of early onset dementia, he believes that a VOHLE jump has the potential to accelerate this process, although this is yet to be proven. His recommendation is for you to immediately send any crew members that are exhibiting uncharacteristic or symptomatic behavior to an infirmary, as these facilities are equipped to treat the mind as well as the body. Remember that all of your actions and choices are being recorded by Eden. We are not affiliated with any national or even international organization. The only people that you are answerable to are those of us who sit on the Marduk Council, who represent the collective interests and ambitions of the company.
Okay, so yeah, we have some more information there. Basically, we now have kind of our AI has been upgraded with a bit of a tool, and it now filters information for us. We won't get everything that the people want to say. We'll just get specific things like these. Basically, that means events are going to start popping up. So the the Tycoon crew members are currently unable to access food supplies. Neocon protocol direct the construction of a mess hall. This building is designed to distribute food from our stockpiles to the crew. Guaranteeing access to food supplies would reaffirm your competency as an administrator. So yeah, we're definitely going to ensure access to food. And basically what that means is we just need to build this mess hall. Like that. So yeah, we need to build a mess hall there. What I'm also going to do, because we will need it shortly, is we're going to need some housing for our people. And actually, I could just build it all the way down, but I'll need supplies first. I don't want to use all of this directly. Yeah, it's not something good to do in this game, is to run out of supplies, because it can be extremely difficult to get new ones, and you can quite easily lose the game. There are many ways to lose the game. The two big ones, of course, are to have no hull integrity left. You do get a little bit, you get some warnings along the way, and then once you get down here, you then have a limited set amount of time to bring it back up past a certain point. You also have trust, so if people don't think you're a good leader and you lose their trust, they will quite happily replace you with someone else. Again, when it gets down here the first time, you'll have a little bit of a timer saying you need to restore trust to X amount by X day, or within X number of days. And then when it happens again, that's basically it. So yeah, can be fun. So what we're going to do, we need the mess hall. Something else we're going to need, let's go ahead. We're going to need some ships, and I think I'm going to need a cargo ship first, I think, and then a science ship. Not that I can build any of that yet, but yeah. Let's go ahead and clear the rest of these, because now we'll have enough to, yeah, to get rid of these and to build all of those as well. You're finished. You should, yeah, there we go. So now what I'm going to do, let's go like this. And I'm going to set you to be, for these things, which I forget, they're called polymers. For polymers, yeah, so our one, unfortunately we only have the one, construction mech. And it's very slow because we're at the very beginning of the game with no upgrades or anything. What I can do, of course, is speed up the game, which I'm going to do just for now. And of course, I put all of these building stuff, or I've set all of these things to build as well, so it's going to be building those first before it does anything else. Here we go. Now we're going to get the mess hall, which is good. There we go.
I have an incoming transmission from Marduk Council member.
Yep, so we have another transmission here.
Bonjour, Administrator. What a wonderful day to embrace our fate, don't you think? I'm Henri Barjaville, writer, philosopher, lobbyist, but most of all member of the Marduk Council. I have taken the liberty of personally arranging an exchange out of courtesy with the Oceanabi, a ship in high orbit belonging to one of our commercial allies, the Ashtangites. Even so, they are a small organization. The Ashtangites are important partners who share the same pragmatic, moralistic, and spiritual outlook as we do. The Oceanabi will provide us with a source of food while carrying out the Tycoon's initial testing. By making it the first exclusive trade partner of the Tycoon, we will demonstrate to our long-term allies that Dolos wishes for them to share in our successes. Please assign a cargo ship so that we can check the trade routines. Administrator, trust in genetic connectors. Self-similar space will reveal the pattern.
Great, so basically what that means is that we could access space before, but now there's actually interesting things out in space. So what we need to do first is build a cargo ship and a science ship, because we now have a partner organization that's going to be supplying us with some food at the moment. Here we go. Some crew members are lacking quarters. So these events will come up, and they will be things that people want. So you either can say, no, we're not going to even attempt to do that. Generally, you might get a little bit of a negative trust thing, but what would be even worse is if you say, sure, we're going to do that, and then you don't, or you're not able to actually, for example, give all the crew quarters within 12 cycles. You get a massive trust hit. We're going to be able to do that, though, especially in this first episode, this first mission. It's very easy to do so. So we're going to say, okay, we're going to do that. And actually, I think we've already done it. Yes, these can hold up to 15 inhabitants. Yeah, and this one isn't even full. That's perfect. So let's close that transmission. So now we're going to take a look at space. Before we go fully to space, I want to look at the exterior. So this is what our ship looks like. This is the Tycoon. It's oddly beautiful. I mean, it's not necessarily beautiful in any way, but yet oddly it's pleasing to the eye, at least to my eye. We won't necessarily be looking at this view very, very much. You don't need to. However, you can, well, once we have an EVA airlock, you can then start building solar panels and things, which we're going to need to do. So up here, this yellow bar is how much power we are currently using and our max power. So we're already at 54, for example, of 60. We're going to need to expand our power capabilities soon, which basically means we're going to need to build an EVA. We're going to need to build a space center shortly. Let's go ahead and have you go. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go... maybe we need to go into our research. Yes, here we go. EVA. So repairs up to 48 units of hull per cycle for 4 alloys and can construct exterior structures. We absolutely need that. We're going to research. We don't have any research points yet, so at the moment we aren't generating any. We have to find them. But how we will do that is by going here. So this is the solar system. You can see, for example, we are here. This is the Tycoon. We're orbiting around Earth, or we're sitting in Earth's orbit. And we have various planetary bodies and things around here. Looks beautiful, looks great. This is where I generally spend a lot of time, unless I need to do something within the Tycoon itself. And all of these places with a kind of... I want to say magnifying glass. Yes, it is a magnifying glass. That means that there's some kind of event there and we need to send a science ship there. That's why, in the interior, I set it to build not only the cargo ship, but a science ship. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go for a mining ship as well, because we will need that very quickly in the second episode, so then in the next mission. So, we have a tutorial. There are lots of tutorials here. They're very useful. They're very good, but I'm not going to show you them directly here. They're not videos. They are just kind of information. Actually, maybe I will show you. It just opens up a view like this, for example, and gives you some information. As you unlock more things, for example, you will get more information. yeah, about all of those different things. Very useful, very good reference if you need it. So we now have we are now in the process of building that science ship. Sorry, the cargo ship. The science ship is next, and we have 10 resources stored here, and those will go directly to the science ship. I'm just going to speed this up a bit. Great. Now we have a cargo ship. Cargo ships are a little bit odd to control. What actually happens is we now have a fleet orbiting the Tycoon as well. So what we actually need to do is go here and say, oh, our cargo ship, what do we actually want it to pick up? And we will also do the same thing for mining ships. What do we want it to mine? At the moment, what we want it to do is pick up food, and we're going to eventually want it also to pick up people, because we will be getting people from that organization as well. They will be transferring crew from Earth to the Tycoon. So this is their ship. It says the supply ship, for example, and our ship has gone there, taken what we needed, and brought it back. So let's now go back here. Oh, we're still waiting for 5 more polymers. Let's go ahead and go like that. Yeah, so what happens is our cargo ship docks, it unloads everything into this bay, and then that bay takes it to the various storage facilities that can handle it. So that's what it's done. It's taken the food here. Let's go ahead and speed up again. Yeah, perfect. So what we need to do is do a little bit of exploration, which means we need the we need the science ship. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward. We should get the mining ship very shortly. Oh, feed 100 crew with the mess hall. We've just finished that. Beautiful. So what we're going to do, I think it's almost done. Yeah, okay. So we're just waiting for this to finish, basically. What I can do while we're waiting, we have nothing else to do. Oh, let's slow that down again. I can just go ahead and say, build all of these crew quarters like that. Yeah, let's do that. So we now have a science ship, and science ships we can control directly. So I'm going to head... Let's go for the moon first. Yep, and maybe speed you up a little bit. So we've got a notification also saying that we're there. So the space is out of commission. Auxiliary systems are operational and can be used to restore power. We've reached the UN base. It is abandoned and depressurized. The surveillance system is still operational, awaiting orders. So we can either exploit the security vulnerability to gain access, or we can dismantle the base for resources. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and exploit the security vulnerability. So this could be good or it could be bad. We really, at this point, we don't know. And all of the options, some of them might sound good and some of them might sound bad, but the effect might actually be the opposite. So it's a little bit dangerous to do these, and we might lose crew, we might lose people, we might lose crew, we might even lose the entire ship. Yeah, so we have 0.7 more cycles in order to get through until this is finished. I'm just going to stay on this screen, and I've sped up everything. So, perfect. So, we have gained 10 research points available for extraction. However, we don't get that directly. What we need to do first is actually finish the entire event. So, we're now going to dismantle the base for its resources. Speaking of resources, yep, that looks like it's all going well. That's good. That means we'll be able to, yeah, now that this is emptied, because we've built all of this, we'll be able then to clean these up a bit more. Once we do that, I'm going to delete, I think, all of these roads. Yeah, I don't want you to hold anything yet. Yep, there we go. Oh no, not quite. A little bit early. There we go. Now we're going to dismantle the base. So now that we're... Oh, sorry. Wrong button. So now that we're there, and we're not specifically doing anything, now we're actually collecting those resources. Collecting the science points. And what's happening to those? Those are going in here to the tech lab, to the tech tree, and we are unlocking the EVA airlock. I also want to do the... probe launcher as well. I'm going to queue that, so we can only have one active and one queued research at a time. So we do have a new mining ship. At the moment, I'm just going to set to do all of this. I'm not going to do hydrogen. That's a very, very late resource, a late game resource. So yeah, let's get rid of all of that and get rid of that. And yeah, we are doing the technology tree at the moment. Let's go ahead and speed it up a bit so we can collect all of this. And then I think, let's go to Mars. Yeah, let's go to Mars. That sounds like a good idea. So I'm going to get the EVA lock and the probe launcher. Those are both space buildings. Yeah, so once this gets to, well, past, oh, sorry, it's in its cycle. So at the moment, our some of our buildings produce kind of waste, and it needs to go through a purge cycle.
Incoming transmission from Dolus's head of medicine, Dr. Abhinav Munshi.
Greetings, Administrator. I'm Dr. Abhinav Munshi, Dolo's expert in compartmentalism and medicine, and a member of the Marduk Council. I'm glad to finally meet you, even in this digital manner. Your psychological test results were quite impressive. My friend and colleague, Philip Stanford, couldn't be here today, so I will take the role of introducing you to the final stages of the VOHLE engine integration. Before we get into that, however, we would like you to complete the testing station's exploration and enhancement capabilities. You'll then be able to begin researching the EVA airlock and assess its compatibility with the Tycoon's core systems. I hope that the work of our team will ensure that you're equipped to deal with most situations you encounter up there. Before I leave you, Stanford would like me to remind you that space is a far less fanciful and forgiving environment than science fiction would have us believe. It would be wise to remember that.
Okay, thank you very much. So he just told me to build the EVA, which I've now basically done. We have also arrived at Mars. So the UN has established a facility on Mars. Its crew are currently lacking the materials requiring to repair a critical fault in their oxygen supply system. They've submitted an official request to Dolus for aid. We can repair in exchange for resources, we can repair in exchange for research data, or we can refuse to help the facility. So research is always going to be basically our limiting factor. It is almost always a limiting factor. So I'm going to say repair the fault in exchange for research data. We then need to choose a ship. Which ship are we going to use? And we're just going to use the only one we have at the moment, the only cargo ship we have. So our science ship has to stay there the entire time. I don't know, to oversee the project maybe. But what's basically happening is that our cargo ship will dock here and then load all of those in and then send it to the facility. Then once it gets to the facility, the timer will cool down. Don't remember how long this one is, but it will then tell us. And then we will then get whatever it is. So we happen to exchange for resources. Oh, what I need to do, let's quickly turn you off. So we finished with our research, and I don't want to go over our energy limit because that will be very, very bad. In this first mission, it's not so bad. It's very forgiving. In the future, though, it becomes a lot worse. Oh. So I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. Let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of all of this and this one as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build our probe launcher here, which means let's go like that, and we can remove you.
Science ship team has completed a task.
Yeah, perfect. So I think we can now basically get rid of the rest of you. Not get rid of, but extract the rest of you. So we've done that exchange. Oh, it looks like there wasn't a timer, so we don't need to stay there. But we've now gained those 10, those 10 research points, which is great. And then from there, I'll have our science ship move to Saturn as well. I think that's a good source of research points, if I remember correctly. And then what I'm going to do, you are being built. We're going to turn you off, though, because what we also need to do is finish implementing the VOHLE engine. But, so that's this out here. However, I'm going to start adding in some solar panels. I think just one of each set so far. So each will add in, what was it, 40 points of electricity? So the higher ones will add in more, but of course they then cost a lot more. Yeah, so let's go into our interior. So that's all being built here from the EVA. What we can also do is then say automatically repair our hull. We don't need that for this first mission, but we will need it for the second mission onwards. And in fact, we're going to need a lot of these EVA, EVA ones for that specific reason, because we'll get a lot of hull damage. So I'm going to turn you back on. You can stay on now. Oh, we have an event available. Yeah, we're going to request additional staff because we're now being overworked. That's another thing that people do not like, is the working conditions on all of this down here. Keep them as happy as possible. Keep the conditions as optimal as possible. Yeah, and I just brought those people on. So they were here on this ship, and I've brought them on to the Tycoon. So what we're going to do now is say event available. A signature trace from an EKP system has been detected near Saturn. EKP technology is exclusive property of Dolus, but records indicate that the company has not deployed any missions to the sector. The signature will soon enter the atmosphere of Saturn. Send a team to investigate. Attempt to locate debris in orbit. Let's send a team to investigate. Yeah, so you don't have power. Let's actually give you power. I'm going to auto-build probes. Actually, you know what? Let's just build one probe for now. Because what we need is... or I'm going to show you how to use probes a little bit before we kind of jump to the next one. What we also want to do to end this mission, we need to build the VOHLE engine. So I'm going to say, yep, let's go ahead and queue that for construction and queue it to be built. So let's go here. You still have 0.5 of a cycle. So half a cycle. So what I'm going to do, probes, this is what the probe interface looks like. So you can send a probe to anywhere, and anything within the circle will be discovered. Also, so this is the probe scanner. So as you can see, as I move around, for example, there's something over here. Oh, here, we found it. It's the green. Or it's, when it turns green, we found it. Eek. At the moment it's a little bit fiddly, so I'm going to say click there, and we're going to send a probe. So what we see is so we can estimate how much iron is within that circle, how much carbon, how much silicon, how much hydrogen, how much ice, how many points of interest, and how many kind of mission critical points. So objective related point of interest. So we are the only one we have at the moment is construct the VOHLE engine, but I happen to know there's a secret station out here that I'd like to take a look at. So, a rocket prototype sent by the UN seems to be use a variation of EKP. We've stripped it down and recovered the schematics. So that's nice. We've gained a little bit of research. Great. So we've retrieved all the science from Saturn. Let's get rid of all of those. We don't need any of these tutorials. And the science ship here. Once this is discovered, I'm going to send our science ship over. Yep, unauthorized access. So we shouldn't know about this yet, because we shouldn't really know about probes yet, but there is the secret station. So, we're just about to start building the VOHLE engine, which is good. There we go. Now we're going to start. It takes a little bit of time, but at the fast speed, it's not so, doesn't take too long. Great, so unauthorized access, we've now arrived. So by proceeding beyond this point, you're breaching the terms of your contract with Dolus AAC. Further action can and will result in summary dismissal. You know what, I'm going to create temporary easement, contacting the station Outer Hope. So, Tycoon Station, this is the Murdoch Council member Rabia Nyokond. You are not authorized to interface with Outer Hope. The purpose of this facility is to allow Dolus to continue the development of its most highly classified projects far away from the prying eyes of our competitors and the media conglomerates of Earth. Do you not realize that the whole world is watching you at this moment, and your presence here could jeopardize this entire operation? I will be filing an official complaint with Vanner himself, unless perhaps you can you can do something for me that may change my mind. So what we can do is send resources to Outer Hope, and I'm actually going to do this because we'll get something back in return. So let's send you and say, yep, we will send you, and especially as we have some resources here anyway. So Now I'm going to stop talking for a while. Let's hear from the founder of Dolos himself, kind of like an Elon Musk-esque type of person, but also somewhat different.
Because of your continued successful management of the Tycoon, Dolos have authorized the dispatch of new crew members and food supplies. Please ensure that they have suitable accommodation once you reach Proxima Centauri.
Okay.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
So we now need to bring the remaining workers on board the Tycoon. That's absolutely fine, except our... Yeah, you were currently going over there. Let's say... Oh, yep, let's end the Nyamic protocol. Let's get ready for extraction. So let's also say... Let's go like that. So we will then pick up the resources here. These electronics are very good, especially early game, because they're difficult to get. And of course the polymers. The polymers will give us a boost to our probes at the beginning of the second mission. So there's nothing left for our science ship to do. I mean, I could just kind of beep boop around here, send it to random places, but there's no point. When we were looking with the probes, nothing was coming up, not even for mining. So there's nothing that we really need to worry about at the moment. Instead, we just need to get those people and get the food on board. Food supplies are dwindling. Despite planes' control protocols, some crew members have become aware of this. They are worried food will run out soon. Pledge that there will be 3 insect farms within 10 cycles. Let's absolutely do this. And what we just need to do is then say... let's go 1, 2, 3. In fact, maybe 4 would be better, because we're bringing in extra people. What I'm going to do... Let's delete the road... here for now. Yeah, let's just focus on creating these. You're going down there to create the road first, then you'll start sending people exactly as you should. Great, so you're bringing in food and people. And yeah, we're going to build these insect farms. People are going to love us. And then we'll also have our own food production as well. So we're bringing on board the additional workers. We're building the insect farms. Yeah, all of that looks like it's going well and doing exactly what it should be doing. Okay, so sorry, now we're going to hear from the founder of Dolos, I believe.
Of preparation, calibration, and verification were successfully completed. You must now start the VOHLE bonding procedure. Dolos protocols now deem you competent to gather resources, knowledge, and test colonization routines once you reach Proxima Centauri. Before you do so, Vanir Dolos, Marduk Council founder and Dolos CEO, wants to talk to you.
Hello, Administrator. I'm glad to see that you have managed to complete your assignments in preparation for this unique moment in history. You must understand that this is not simply another chapter in humanity's story. The book of our life on Earth is over, and we stand now at its epilogue. It saddens me to think that there are many who have yet to comprehend the reality of our situation. We've endured endless cycles of war, crisis, and famine. Still, the worst is yet to come. There are others like Dolos who have prepared for this outcome, but most of our kind remain sheltered from the horror of the predicament we find ourselves in. This pale ghost of civilization will wither and die, and with it, the tenets and values of the past. As we prepare to leave this system for the first time, perhaps we must decide which fragments we will pick up and take forward with us. Through Dolos, I am offering mankind an alternative means of survival. The Tycoon is a tablet upon which we will carve our new history. Do you recognize why I have done all of this? Having foreseen our fate, I became fixated on altering it. I set about fashioning the ropes and tying the knots that would bind together this magnificent ship. It is true that our time in this world is brief, but at least I can rest assured knowing that my legacy will endure for eons. Farewell, Administrator. For the few who stand in the light and the many who dwell in the dark, You carry the fate of us all.
Great, so thank you, Vanir Dolos, who's kind of a tech tycoon, who then, yeah. So now we need to move in orbit of the moon, so I'm going to do that. We're going to watch a very beautiful animation. And we're on the way. So while we are moving, we are not producing any energy, so we need to have... yeah, we basically need to build batteries. We can't do that though, we haven't researched the tech. In fact, before we get to jumping, let's go ahead and... we could do batteries. Maybe the steel mill. No, you know what, let's go ahead and do the batteries first and research that. Great, so now all we have left to do in this mission is to actually jump. So that's what I'm going to do. We need to charge the VOHLE engine, and then we shall jump.
In accordance with Ralph Stanford procedures, all ships must return to the Tycoon before VOHLE jump initiation.
Great, so we're now going to commence jump. And yeah, this is what we see.
The Earth, our home, she is unique. Held in its bosom are the ingredients of evolution. Beyond raw survival, beyond the safety of comfort, we, humanity, pursue something greater. We have learnt, persevered, shaped our knowledge from that which is found in the furthest realms of science. However, humanity has brought destruction to the earth, polluted its blood, choked its breath. Today we are paying the price for this. We know the taste of a dying world. But the earth is not to be our grave. A mother does not wish to see her children disappear with her. She wishes to see instead courage in her children, to carry on. Dolos carries this courage. We have gone further than any nation, moved faster than any corporation, hand in hand with those who, like us, carry that courage. The Tycoon Station is both an epilogue of these endeavors and a prologue to humanity's next steps. Our Council of Scientists leads the vanguard. They know, as do we all, that the survival of humanity now depends on what we glimpse out there in the dark. That we are masters of our own destiny. That we must go as a species bound together, pushing further into the unknown. We set sail on this new sea because there is hope to be found, horizons to explore, and because our very existence depends on it. I give you the stars. I give you the VOHLE engine.
And with that, we've reached the end of the first chapter. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this game. It looks like it's going to be an amazing story. I loved how the moon exploded at the end when we jumped with the VOHLE engine, and I can't really wait to see where we go from here. So I hope you have enjoyed this one. If so, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. And I will see you next time for another episode of Jamie Plays. Bye for now.